What's going on, good people? Shout out to my boy Rich. School in the building. What's happening? Yo, back with another episode of School's Guilty Pleasures. Doing a something real quick, real special for you guys. As you know, by the time this gets released, this upcoming Sunday will be Oscar Sunday. So what I'm going to do is as you can see at the bottom, give you guys a quick 10 through 1 list with a few honorable mentions. I'm super excited about this. As you can see, the list is going to be 10 movies that you did not know won or was nominated for an Oscar. So let's get to it. Before we get started, shout out to Ray P. Happy birthday, young lady. Shout out to Rich, shout out to Mo, shout out to Spike, shout out to AB, Animal Brown. I ain't met you officially, but I've been listening on deck, and that shit is dope. Even though you kind of diss my boy Wayne, but we ain't gonna get into that, shit. Wayne should definitely can perform at the Super Bowl, but that's another story. What up, AB? So, like I said, I'm doing a top 10 list of of movies that were nominated or won an Oscar. Like I said, the reason I'm doing this is because by the time this drops, this following Sunday or upcoming Sunday will be Oscar Sunday. So let's get it on. Let's get it on. Shout out to DMX. Number 10 on my list, Purple Rain, man. Purple Rain. Shout out to your boy Prince. So in 1985, Purple Rain was nominated for an Oscar. It was nominated for Best Original Song, which we all know and love to this day. It's Purple Rain. If you've never seen Purple Rain, it's showing on Prime. You're going to have to buy it, $3.99. It might be $4.99, but whatever. It's worth it. It's Prince. So if you've never seen the movie, it's pretty much a biopic about him. The movie's pretty good, but it's the 80s, man. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's very rare for like an artist, especially if Prince and Michael's caliber, to be good at everything, and acting wasn't really his niche, but he was okay. I'm not going to say he was horrible. But definitely, we all know and love Purple Rain, and it was nominated for an Oscar. Matter of fact, it won an Oscar for Best Original Song. I would even like to say that God loves the song Purple Rain. If you didn't see him perform in the 2007 Super Bowl halftime show, it rained when he started performing Purple Rain. Like, that wasn't planned, that wasn't scripted, that was God. You feel me? God was like, yo, this is my cut. I got to show some love. So shout out to Purple Rain. If you want to watch it, like I said, you're going to have to spend them $4.99 or $3.99 on Prime. It's all good, though. Money well spent. My number 9 selection is Back to the Future. Back to the Future was nominated in 1986. It was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Sound, Best Editing, and Best Song. Also Best Effects. I'm sorry, not Best Song, Best Effects. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis. This movie is a big box office smash. Took about $11 million to make. Made 225 in the US and about 383 worldwide. So this movie was huge. And one of the things about movies like this is you don't think movies of this nature, kind of like Star Wars and those sci-fi type of joints, they don't really too much win Oscars. But man, this one definitely was nominated for 3. And one of the great Oscars that it was nominated for was screenplay, because this was different. That's one of the keys to winning awards anyway, specifically for like a screenplay. Got to be different, just something different. And Robert Zemeckis had it, man. He figured it out. So like I said, worldwide, this movie made $383 million. If you want to watch this movie, it is on Paramount Plus. No, I'm sorry. It's on Peacock. Ooh, look at me about to lie. It's on Peacock. So shout out to Michael J. Fox. Shout out to Christopher Lloyd. Classic movie. Shout out to Robert Zemke. Created a classic with that one. My number 8 selection is, of course, Black Panther. Black Panther was nominated for 7 Oscars. Now, hold up. You probably gonna say, Skool. I knew that. I knew that joint was gonna be on this list. Well, good. I'm glad for you. Shit. It definitely is one of the first superhero movies to be nominated, for 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. This was nominated for Best Picture. So that's an amazing feat. Of course, it won 3 of them. The one that matters the most on this list to me is, of course, costume design and production design. Ruth E. Carter became the first Black woman to win such an award. And Hannah Beachler was the first Black person, period, to win the production design award, Oscar award. So that's amazing. Shout out to Ruth E. Carter as well. She's been on so many great classic Culture Garden movies and just classic movies to the culture anyway. Malcolm X and My Name is Dolomite. She also won a Primetime Emmy for Roots a few years back. So that's amazing. She should have been getting her flowers, but we all know how that goes. So shout out to Black Panther. And if you want to watch it, it is on TBS or TNT, basically a Ted Turner channel. If you got a Ted Turner channel, then you can watch the Black Panther. Shout out to my guy Chadwick, man. We miss you, man. Love you, man. Also, real quick, Ruthie Carter also won for Wakanda Forever, Wakanda Forever as well. And if I'm not mistaken, so did Hannah Beachler. And if she didn't win, she definitely was nominated 2 years in a row. Not 2 years in a row, but 2 movies in a row, should I say. Shout out to Hannah Beachler, man. I love seeing us make history. So it ain't all Black History Month. It's every month, nigga. We gets down. So number 7 on my list is Men in Black. Yes, the 97 Oscars, the 98 Oscars rewarded Men in Black with an Oscar for Best Makeup by Rick Baker, the legend. If you know anything about the makeup scene, specifically, you want an age enhancement, or if you want some aliens, you call Rick Baker, man. Rick Baker, he gets it done. He's been nominated 7 times, and he's going to be on this list a couple more times. He's a dog. So shout out to Rick Baker, legend. So if you want to watch Men in Black, go ahead and go to Apple Plus or AMC Plus. Both of those, they both have Men in Black. So just to check them out, see how well it's aged, because it's aged very well. Rick Baker is a dog when it comes to that makeup. A dog. Like I said, he's going to be on this list again. So now let's move on to number 6. Number 6 on our list is Crocodile Dundee, the late 80s classic. This movie dropped in 1986. So it was nominated for the 87 Oscars, and it was actually nominated for something that's wild, Best Screenplay. That's amazing, considering the fact that it's a story that is told by Paul Hogan. He's an Australian dude. They call him the Crocodile Dundee. So. I believe it's based on a story that he wrote or something of that nature. And then, of course, they turn it into a screenplay. And it's directed by Peter Feynman, a name that you might have heard on here. He directed Dutch. So it all ties all together. He tells a story. The story goes so well that they want to make it a movie. They hire some great, screenwriters. So basically, a New Yorker news reporter encounters a crocodile, and she wants to figure it all out. where it came from, and yeah, she just wanted to know more about it. So she went to Australia and picked up Crocodile Dundee. His name is Nick in the movie. The crazy part about this movie, it kind of reminds me of that like Rocky feel, like because if you don't know, Sylvester Stallone wrote and directed and did everything for Rocky. And Paul Hogan's situation is kind of similar. Imagine just telling the story, writing a book or whatever, and now they want to make a movie, but you're small time. Like you're like, what movie? Like I was just writing a quick little story. I ain't know it was that deep or it was that entertaining. But then again, yeah, you did because you wrote it and tried and sold it, so you knew something. But yeah, it was and something when you think about some of the movies that have won best screenplay at the Oscars. It didn't win, like I said, but it damn sure was nominated. And just to give you a sense of how big this movie was, and I don't even know if Rich knows this, but I used to watch this movie faithfully with my Uncle Stanley. This makes this an 85 classic to me. Like my Uncle Stanley got me hip to a lot of SGPs, man, a lot of guilty pleasures. He was the first person to get me hip to Superfly, and a bunch of other movies. Hear No Evil, See No Evil with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, and of course the classic. So yeah, this movie. Sorry guys, this movie cost about $8 million to make. It made $95 million in the U.S. and worldwide. It made $140 million. Huh? That's crazy. That's along the lines of like Napoleon Dynamite. Like Napoleon Dynamite famously only made or cost like a few million to make, and it made easily $100 million back. Easily. Movies like that, when they hit big, it's big. And if you don't know, there is a sequel to this movie because of how big it was, and back in those days in the 80s, they didn't give you a movie and then say, 4 years we're gonna make another one. No, we won't make that shit quick. So this came out in 86, it hit big, and by 88 it was another one. Shit. So shout out to Crocodile Dundee, number 6 on my list, best screenplay. That's crazy. And if you think I'm tripping, go look at some of the best screenplay winners or even nominees. It don't matter. You're going to be like, wow, okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. If you want to watch that one, that's on AMC Plus as well. So yeah, get into it. Check it out. Yeah, now we getting into the nitty gritty. We getting into the top 5, baby. All right, so number 5 on my list, Tropic Thunder. Man, oh man. Tropic Thunder. Robert Downey Jr. was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. If you've seen this movie, then you know that Robert Downey Jr.'s character, he played a black man. He was a thespian actor. Like he was an actor playing another. Like he said, I'm the dude playing the other dude. Like man, sometimes it gets complicated. A lot of, as time has went on, as we enter 2024, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago that they said, like, I don't know about Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and that, was that blackface. And listen, I don't know, but that shit was funny as fuck. So good that he was nominated for an Oscar. And I don't think that the part of it was him playing the black man. I think that was just going into how much of a thespian he was. He could play anything, man. That movie is crazy. You definitely wouldn't make that movie today. You couldn't make it today without, obviously having a black man in it. But damn, man, Robert Downey Jr. Shout out to him. Definitely got an Oscar nod. And looking at the research for this movie, I didn't realize that this movie kind of was a bust. I feel like I remember this movie being bigger. Like, definitely saw it 2, maybe 3 times in theater. But yeah, it cost $92 to make. It made $110 on U.S. soil, and worldwide it made $145. So if you're looking for that one, you can find it on Paramount Plus or Pluto. I definitely, like I said, I just feel like I remember this movie being bigger, but I guess not. Directed by Ben Stiller, got Tom Cruise in it acting a damn fool, man. But you know, we remember things how we want to remember it. Shit, maybe it was trash. And I will say this: we're definitely doing it on SGP. Shout out to my dog Mo. Yeah, buddy, he definitely gonna be on that episode. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder how I feel about it now, because it really has been about 10 years since I've seen it. I probably haven't put it on since 2014. But it's definitely since I haven't seen it since 2014, it's definitely a YouTube movie for me. Like, I definitely throw on scenes that I want to watch when I'm in the mood, if that makes sense, to watch some Tropic Thunder. Because I also remember it kind of being, it being kind of long as well, where it was like, yo, I've been in this movie theater for an hour 45. I feel like, what's going on when we get to go home? Shit. So yeah, that's number 5 on my list. Now we get into number 4, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Man, this film was nominated for a few Oscars. But the reason it's on my list is because Johnny Depp was nominated for Best Actor. I had no clue. Shout out to Rich. Earlier today, we had a convo about anti-heroes. He just asked me about a certain anti-hero. And there, I think he was discussing more TV. And far as movies go, I don't know if you guys know this, but that guy, that man, Johnny Depp, plays one of the, if not the greatest anti-hero of all time. Do you hear me? That boy, that guy, Blackbeard. Nah, that ain't his name. Jack Sparrow, man. Jack Sparrow. Fucking legend. You hear me? Or should I say legendary? You hear me? Again, kind of like the conversation we had earlier about superhero movies and things of that nature. Movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a Disney joint, you don't tend to see those type of movies win Oscars or get nominated outside of the visual effects and things of that nature. But again, Johnny Depp was super fantastic as Jack Sparrow. So good that the first portrayal of Jack got him a Best Actor nod, and well deserved. I think he should have more than one, specifically for Jack Sparrow. I mean, of course, he has more than one Oscar nom. He's a dog. Matter of fact, he had back-to-back years, because after this, he had for Finding Neverland, he had an Oscar nom. So, dude's a workaholic. He does his thing. And you know what? He was born on June 9th. And you know what? I kind of know somebody else who was born on June 9th. Matter of fact, Michael J. Fox was born on June 9th. That's who it is. That's who it is. Yeah, Michael J. Fox. He was on the list earlier. But anywho, yeah, shout out to Johnny Depp, man. Shout out to Johnny Depp. Did your damn thing. And if you want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm guessing it's on Disney Plus. When I looked it up on my site to see if it was on where it was on IMDb, it didn't say it was streaming anywhere. So I think it's on on Disney Plus. I'm pretty positive. I bet my last dollar on it. So yeah, number 3 is South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Man, what? Sheesh. Year 2000, it was nominated for Best Original Song. Blame Canada, blame Canada. It's crazy because when I first seen this come up, when I was looking up, certain movies and things of that nature, basically doing my research, it came up. I said, there's no way they nominated it for Cows, Moms, The Big Fat Bitch and The Big Fat Bitch. And I was like, yo, the Oscars fooling if they did that. Blame Canada ain't too far off either, though. That's insane. But yeah, it was nominated for Best Original Song, written by Trey Parker, who is also a creator of the show. Him and Matt Stone created the show, but how serious they are about their craft. And I know you think, well, South Park is a wild ass show, but they take their shit very serious. They called, Mark Payman, who is a 7-time Oscar nominated music composer. So to get him to do this is amazing. He's did songs for Hairspray. It's a couple other ones. Obviously, like I said, he's been nominated for 7 Oscars for just what he did here when he helped Trey Parker write Blame Canada. So I think that's crazy to even fathom. You think of South Park, you definitely don't think Oscar. But that lets you know that, the Oscars, the what do they call it? The Academy watches everything. They watch everything. It's a lot of things that go into a movie, and I appreciate them for respecting all of that and giving out the awards for best hairstyles and our hairstylist and makeup and costume design and production and sound editing. Like, all of that makes a difference. So shout out to them for that. You want the dude that says, yeah, I edit. I ain't getting into that, but all I'm trying to say is you want somebody who's award winning. That's all. Even if it's something small. It makes a much bigger difference. You want the nigga from down the street to put your windows in, or you want the 3-time window molding award winning John Jacob Jingleheimer. Shit. Give me John Jacob Jingleheimer. Shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, shit. So, all right. Now we're getting into the top 2. Number 2 is Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. Man, it is so refreshing to see something so raw like Jackass not get nominated for an Oscar. It is for the hair and makeup, but that is the key to this movie. Without the great hair and makeup, then this movie does absolute shit. As we know, Jackass is very raw and unscripted, and the things they do, they need to, specifically for this movie, they need a good hairstylist and makeup artist, which they employ. Stephen Portnoy, I believe is his name. He did a lot of work on Angel, the show Angel, and the show Castle. Won a couple primetime Emmys. So obviously they took it serious, and they said, hey, we got to get somebody to help us out with this one. And like I said, it's amazing that the the Academy even watches things like that. But when when people do such a good job, you can't ignore that. So shout out to them for that. You know, we ain't gonna get into how they skipped past a lot of us, because shit, I'll be here for another 3, 4, 5 days talking shit. You hear me? So we ain't gonna do that. But yeah, shout out to Bad Grandpa for being nominated for an Oscar in 2014. If you want to check that out, check it out on Max. I thought it would be on Comedy Central, but I guess it was on MTV. Never mind. So before we get into number one, let's get into these honorable mentions, man. These movies I am about to mention have either won an Oscar or been nominated for them. Speed was nominated for an Oscar. 50 Shades of Grey, of course, was nominated for Best Original Song with Earned It by The Weeknd, which is a cut. Ted, yeah, with Seth MacFarlane and pretty much Peter Griffin as a bear. And him and Mark Wahlberg, that was nominated for Best Original Song. Then we got, last but not least, I said we was going to mention him again, Rick Baker for Harry and the Hendersons. Man, that was a TV show that it got so big, of course. You know how Hollywood is. They say, yo, we got to get this money, as much money as we can. Let's make a movie. So they did, and they got Rick Baker to get to it, like he always does, and they were absolutely nominated for an Oscar. So now that I got that out my way, let's get into it. Number one on this list, Norbit. Norbit was nominated for the 2008 Oscars for Best Makeup, again by Rick Baker. Rick Baker also worked with Eddie Murphy on Life. You know, when everyone started aging, that was Rick Baker aging them. We know how old and how good they looked towards the end of the movie Life, and that was Rick Baker, man. He's a master of his craft. He's a dog, man. But yeah, when you think about a movie like Norbit, which is just pure ignorance, Eddie plays a Chinese man in this movie, and it is everything you think it is, because Eddie is just so fucking talented. You know, we saw that in Coming to America. Who you think helped him with that? Rick Baker. You feel me? He's a dog. So yeah. Now, the movie cost about $60 million to make. It made 95 domestically, and worldwide it made 160. Now, here is what is absolutely crazy about this movie being nominated for an Oscar, right? I've told this story last time. I believe I did the list when I did my debut list. I don't remember, but I've definitely talked about this before, but I'm gonna talk about it again. So listen up. Eddie Murphy was nominated for an Oscar for his portrayal of Jimmy. I can't remember his last name, but the Jimmy character in Dreamgirls. It was supposed to basically be James Brown. But Eddie Murphy, I mean, it was a dramatic role, and Eddie Murphy bodied it so much that everyone pretty much had the Oscar wrapped up for Eddie. They knew it, they said it. I mean, critics were just so many great rave reviews. And unfortunately, the media and the critics, they take Oscar season very serious. There comes a time when you release a movie around a certain time, they call it, Oscar season and all that, and the buzz, and, they dropped Dreamgirls, and we all know how great that was. And, Jamie was nominated, Eddie, Jennifer Hudson killed it. She won an Oscar, and when certain things happen, you know, when you're Eddie Murphy, your team, your publicity, your publicist, your PR team, public relations, they're telling you don't do anything to mess this up. You've got this in the bag, bro. Like just chill. And unfortunately, Eddie Murphy is going to be Eddie Murphy. And what he did during Oscar season, right in the peak of it, he released Norbit. He released Norbit, and critics were pissed. They were upset. They were, you know, they felt betrayed. You know, you made a liar out of me. I just called you, you know, I call this your true comeback. You're one of the best. You're one of the best. You know, he was getting, you know, you're one of the best actors out here, Eddie. Like, you need to do more of this type of shit. Why are you doing these dumbass, silly ass movies when you have the acting bug? You can do it. And unfortunately, you know, Eddie Murphy, I don't know how much you guys know about Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy is one of them, you don't tell me what's it, nigga. And we should know that by Adventures of Pluto Nash and Metro and Showtime and, you know, so many bad movies. So many bad movies. He had an interview around 2019, 2020 maybe, talking to Jimmy Kimmel, where he said it. You know, Jimmy Kimmel asked him, like, man, you used to drop a movie every year. What happened? And he said, and the critics beat me down. Like, he just was like, I couldn't do it no more. Like, I finally came to realize that I make bad movies. And that's pretty much what he said. And it's like, damn. And that's okay, Eddie. I love all your bad movies. I just wish for your sake, you would have just waited 6 more months to drop Norbit, and you'd have an Oscar. So now, like Will, you'll be playing the catch-up game, meaning, you know, they owe you one, and they know it. So try to get that other role. Come on, Eddie, you can do it. You can do it. And I believe he tried with my name is Dolomite. I think that was his try at it. Also, I just think that the critics they got it, but they didn't get it. And it was a little raunchy. So I don't know, but he definitely deserves an Oscar. They owe him one. So that's my list, man. I'm super excited. I'm so happy to be finished. I'm so happy that you stayed to the end and got that lesson. As my granddad would say, come get these lessons. Yeah. So come fuck with me. Come fuck with me on SGP and get these lessons. I appreciate y'all so much for sticking it out with me. If you still here, damn, I love you. Y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. Peace.